You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? The Indiana Fever just got stuck in the mud. 80-61 against the Golden State Vacories. Now, the Vacories are very, very interesting. Boy, they're up and coming. And you know what? I'm not going to say an expansion team has a long shot to win a championship. I know Lakeup, the owner, says we could do it in 3 years. Boy, he's putting his mouth right where the game is. Indiana Fever came out and just really couldn't get going. Controlled the first 23-21. Caitlin came in, gave a boost. But then in the second quarter, the Indiana Fever scored 9 points. Go in at halftime, make an adjustment, score 19. And again, come out in the fourth just flat, conceding the victory and score 10 points. This is not accustomed to what the Indiana fans are expecting. However, I had a kind of inclination, as I mentioned, what will Caitlin's new role be? What is her new role going to be on the Indiana Fever? Missing quite a few games and coming back and being able, one, to build up her conditioning, keep the pace. That's just a tough one. And across the board, you look at the Indiana Fever today, you've got Natasha Howard gets 4 points, -3. Gets a little uglier than that. Melissa Boston gets 6 points and is a -26. I don't know if Aaliyah Boston can play a worse game in her career defensively today. Kelsey Mitchell, -16 with 12 points. Getting more interesting, Ariel McDonald is a -20, 7 points. And then Caitlin Clark comes out a -7 with 10 points. That's the interesting of it, because the plus-minus dictates who you are, what your capabilities are. And when you look at this, Caitlin was -7, you lose by 19, so she's ahead of the pace. It's just that everybody else got off the pace. McDonald's off the pace, Boston's off the pace. Dantes comes in and really plays 9 minutes, comes out a +7. You've got Colson comes in there and just gets garbage time, 2 minutes +2. Cunningham goes a -18. Lexi Hull goes a -14. Folks, let's take a deeper dive and let's look at this, because the Golden State Vacories are an interesting team, but they got a lot of wisdom on that team. I always look at the ball player that changed the Vegas Las Vegas Aces, Becky Hammond. That's Tiffany Hayes. Let me tell you about Tiffany Hayes, great ball player. Might be up in age, but knows the game and knows how to play it well. The Vacories have got a team that read and react basketball. They wait on your mistake and they capitalize on it. Now, that just shows you to tell me the WNBA, as I've been speaking about it a long time. Got a lot of players in the WNBA won't be here, because it's not about your talent. It's about your character and your ability to play. And Lakeup down in Golden State, I told you, that's the United Nations. Man, they came to Indiana, the Fieldhouse, and didn't get it done. I mean, like I said, you look at it, Thompson's going to come in there, 18 points, gets it done. You know, Timmy hanging around, gets 7 points, a +8. She enjoyed the game. And Veronica Burton, +22, dropped 21. I mean, that's just getting it done off the bench. You got Salon jumped in there for 15, +8. Lady got in there, 8 +8, 5 points. So they're playing as a team. And they're a tough team to beat because they capitalize on all your weaknesses. Now, here's a challenge the Indiana Fever have got to figure out, folks, and I'm going to pinpoint it, and you hang with me, because this one's going to be tough. Ariel McDonald. Kind of share with everybody, Ariel McDonald's success was because she was not in the game plan. Now, the Indiana Fever, collectively, I'm going to say collectively as a unit, that means Stephanie White, that means Amy, and that means Kelly, the president, selected today to put Ariel McDonald in the starting lineup. Ariel McDonald should not be in the starting lineup, folks. And once I get a game plan on you and I scout you in the NBA, that's their job, I'm going to take away everything that you do good, and I'm going to capitalize on all your weaknesses on defense. That's almost an impossibility for a player to walk off a street as a hardship and be in the starting lineup. What you did is you sent Colson to the bench. Colson is a very, very good basketball player for the Indiana Fever. Colson is a very good point guard that can run that second unit. You put McDonald in the starting lineup and you bench Lexi Hole. That changed your entire roster right there, folks. I don't know what the plan was, the strategy. I'm sure the Indiana Fever are going to correct their mistakes, but you cannot put Kelsey Mitchell, McDonald, and Caitlin Clark on the floor at the same time. First of all, you have two individuals that we're going to put sets in. We're going to exchange and get you in defensive challenges, right? And because your size isn't there. You're giving up a 6'1", 6'2" player to play a player that's 5'9", 5'8" to go along with Kelsey Mitchell. That's not the game plan of the Indiana Fever. We all make mistakes. We all have got to turn it around. The Indiana Fever are soul searching. I'm not going to get deep into it because I'm going to let Stephanie White figure this out. But there's got to be a better way. And when you're getting 9 points and 10 points, you got to address that. And I mean in a quarter, you're going to have to address that and figure out what's going to be your best plan of action. Indiana Fever are who you want them to be, but it's going to take time. Caitlin's hasn't been on the court. It's going to have to get the strength and conditionings up. They also dropped her weight back closely down to the 155 pounds so she can get a little more loose freedom. Got a little leg tangle up today, but she battled through it. It's just the return. Game one. You happen to play a hot team that's in a hot box with a hot coach that is out coaching everybody. Patience is going to be the key for the Indiana Fever. Character. And you're going to have to get Colson back in that lineup. Colson does not deserve 2 minutes. And you cannot take a player off the street. That's right, Ari McDonald off the street. Give a hardship, and next thing you know, she's in the starting lineup to play the Valkyries who are hot. That won't work, folks. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're going to let this story develop. Just didn't look good today, and the Indiana Fever are going to have to regroup, get back in there, and figure out what direction they're going to go and what everybody's role is going to be. And please, for the life of me, for the Indiana Fever, you're going to have to get the veteran Colson back in the lineup. That's a must. All things are possible to those who believe. Indiana Fever fans, you hang tight. Money Mike felt your pain, but I also understand this is a business. It's a game of basketball. Caitlin just returned. Caitlin's got to establish that new role, and we got to start playing basketball the way the Indiana Fever play basketball. Everybody's going through hookups. I walked across the street to Chicago Sky, Angel Reese. Man, that's a mental health check. You know, I mean, it's passion, but mental health, slapping clipboards. The Indiana Fever haven't got to that pace, but Boston should not be a minus 25. That just means the defensive game plan just wasn't the right game plan today. You'll fix it. You'll have to come back and do better. In the Indiana Fever, that's what they pride themselves on. But reality's reality, and this has been what you call an up and down season for the Indiana Fever. I'm Money Mike. I always keep it objective. I'm not going to get ahead of this story and really say how bad things are because Caitlin just returned. She's got to establish in the new role, and they've got to look at what defense they're going to run because they're getting away from the success they had. And for the life of me, I'll tell you one thing. I'll bet the house on it. Caitlin Clark can play man-to-man defense just as good as everyone else. Why don't we give that a try and let's just make it work instead of counting it out before it actually happens. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll promise you this, we'll get better and better. Indiana Fever take a tough one, 80-61, but it's still early. We got an all-star game to play. Let's see what happens after that.